Stab, how do you guys approach this weekend? Is it almost a bit of a free hit, given that you're coming from the first semi?
No, not at all, mate. You know, we want to win the first semi to give ourselves a chance to progress further. So, no, that hasn't even entered my mind. But maybe I better address it, mate. If it's entered yours, it might have entered the players. So, not in my mind, and nothing to suggest that would be the case. Yeah.
But you think there's probably a little bit less pressure on the shoulders of your boys compared to maybe your Scottish boys, or?
Perhaps, but there's a preliminary final to win or lose. So I can't speak for Subi, but you know, my group want to, you know, obviously want to desperately win. So no, it hasn't. I don't think there's any more or less pressure on us, but I can't speak for Subi.
What did you think at three-quarter time you'd be playing this week? What was your thoughts, and then what was your message to the team afterwards?
I was working out how I was going to let my partner know that I wouldn't be at presentations after the game, mate, and she'd have to find her own way home. In analysing the game, it was a really strong win. So I would imagine that a 2 or 3 goal lead to Swans would have been about par. So the 5 goals sounds really dramatic, but it was a really strong win. But you know, we're definitely up against it. But you know, we've got to address a few things. Obviously, to be a couple of goals below where we definitely needed to be is the main issue for us to address this week.
Do you believe you can carry on the momentum from that last quarter to next week? Like, can it generate from week to week?
Oh, I think it was Ken Armstrong, the great Perth coach, believed that if you started one week, how you finished the next. But I take a little bit out of that, but really I'm a bit more sort of, what's the word, basic in that. You know, each game's different, and you can win in a variety of ways. And I approach each game as it's got a different set of circumstances. I doubt that there'll be the conditions, firstly, on Sunday, this Sunday that were last Sunday. So it hasn't entered my mind that, you know, we're going to start on Sunday how we finished at all. It's just another set of circumstances we face this Sunday.
Does it give your players confidence, though? Do you think that you can sort of fight your way out of any situation?
Well, we've done pretty well at times when we've been up against it this year. I reckon one of our best wins was when we played Peel Thunder. We played 5 days after the Foundation Day Derby, and Peel had 3 weeks break with 13 AFL players, and we were 4 or 5 goals down. And for the players to win that game, I thought that was one of our best wins, and probably even better than the weekend to a certain extent. So we have shown we can fight our way through those situations, and I think to win the amount of games, not that we've won it the same amount as Subi or East Perth, but to win those amount of games, it's not always going to go your way. You're not going to get off to a good start and just cruise all the time. So to be a good team, you've got to learn to win in a variety of ways, and we have shown the capacity to win when we've been up against it at times.
Scully, what did you learn from the weekend's result?
Yeah, well, look, you've got to be in it for 4 quarters, and unfortunately, our guys probably got exposed at the level you need to be at. I think I made a comment that I think we might have had about 13 or 14 guys that experienced finals football for the first time, and you could definitely see the differences between, I suppose, if you're going to use the AFLies, boys that really showed the way to play finals football, their intensity, their hardness at the footy, just their work ethic, and also it's a massive learning experience for our guys. And you know, this week will be proof in the pudding where they actually have learnt from the weekend's game. But I think our group's grown so much this year that they'll respond in the right way, and you know, it's going to be a tough contest against East Manly, who, like you said, have finished off strongly.
Do you have enough scoring power? I mean, I know Stockton went back and was more of a ruckman, but does that change this week? Do you need to obviously kick more goals to win?
Yeah, well, look, taking nothing away from East Perth's defence, they were fantastic. But yeah, look, definitely our forwards were probably a little bit down. Matty Boland was well held, but you know, I think we've got enough avenues there. You know, with Yaron, the Lucas, Reece Waters, obviously missing George Hampson is a big one for us. But yeah, look, obviously Frank will come into calculations this week along with a number of other guys, we've got a couple of boys that have been playing in the reserves that have kicked 18 goals in 3 weeks. So I think we've got enough firepower, but we've got to get the ball there. And I think on the weekend we had enough opportunities, but our efficiency wasn't there as well. So there's a few areas we need to address.
Does George come back in this week?
He started training, and we'll have a look at him maybe on Thursday night or even at the latest Saturday. But I won't be taking any players in that aren't fully fit and can give us everything that we're wanting from them. So we'll give him a chance. But if he's not, well then we'll focus on whoever does come in.
Jared, Andrew McDougall's hit form at the right time this morning of the season. Very good luck, mate.
Yeah, he was obviously up against it with Cal Sinclair and Paul Johnson. But it was a tough one to split Andrew McDougall and Frank Stockley. Yeah, that was probably one of the hardest things as coach, having to tell Frank that he was going to miss out, when we could have quite easily have gone with the 2 ruckmen. So obviously we'll look at that, and a massive load was put on Doogs on the weekend, and we gave him the week off to freshen up, and I think he showed his true worth there, and taking some great contested marks early on in the game. His ruck work around the ground, and obviously we want probably a little bit more from him pushing forward. So hopefully he can build on that game on the weekend and take us forward this week.
With the reserves going straight through, Scar, you're going to have some healthy options available to you with selection this week.
Definitely, yeah. We, like I said, I think we've got a couple of boys that have been hitting the scoreboard, as sort of the half-forward type players that can be dangerous players on their day, and they've been kicking some goals. And we've got some guys, some senior players that have been coming back through the reserves, like a Scott Worthington, who was unlucky to miss out on the weekend. So, I think that he would push for selection. It'd be no surprise to Stav, with his name being mentioned, his experience and his leadership. And like I said, it's a cutthroat. There's no second chances now, so we want to make sure we can obviously field a better side than what we had on the weekend.
Watching East Fremantle's game on the weekend, do you learn more from what Swan Districts was able to do to get 30 points up, or do you learn more from the last quarter in what East Fremantle was able to do to win the game?
Yeah, well, interesting one. Obviously, you take a lot from what Swan Districts did early on the game, but you obviously got to, like Stav alluded to, is you got to take a lot of how they just hung in there and had that belief then in the end to overrun Swans, who are a young group, but and that goes to show that cool heads finals football is what you need. And so you do take a lot out of obviously all parts of that, and that's one thing as us as a group as well, that I felt like us on the weekend, we hung in there as well. We could have been blown out of the park. In the end, we had the same amount of inside 50s. So experienced finals teams are able to sort of like draw on a lot of aspects of games, but definitely you'll take a lot out of that.
And for both of you, is it possible to ignore totally East Perth the following week? Do you have to concentrate 100%, or do you have a bit of an eye on the Royals and what may be waiting for you the following week?
I'll answer that first. Look, like I said to Phil Lamb before, is that we talked about East Perth straight after the game. We reviewed the game Monday night, and as soon as we walked out the lecture theatre, we were straight on East Fremantle. If you're looking at East Perth at any point from when we walked out the door, well then you're losing sight of what's right in front of us. And at the moment, our focus is purely on East Fremantle.
Well, obviously we take note that they're been the best team in the comp thus far, and they're in the grand final, so we take note of that. But as I can only concur with what Scully said, you've got to get in a position where you can, to challenge them, you've got to win this week. So, I guess what's blindingly obvious that they're going to be really tough to beat for either of us to get through. We both know that you've got to win this week to get the opportunity. It's just as simple as that, really.
Steve, tasted the grand final a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Didn't pan out the way you would have liked.
Yeah.
And I should have done my stats. Many of the players play in that game, and they've got a bit of a burning desire to get back there. And will that help you this weekend?
Should have done my stats too, Lockie. I don't know how many, but there's, I guess there's a nucleus, and that was an odd game as well. We were 48 points down at quarter time and got back to within a couple of points in the last quarter. So I made the point after the game. This group of players have had have been pretty consistent for 4 or 5 years now, and in some respects, they've had a pretty hard run. Lost the grand final. I mean, you get in the grand finals is great. On a minor level, we you know, Foxtel Cup last year, I thought we played great, but we kicked 2 goals 16 and we came away dejected from that, and we were in the finals half-time of the last game last year and missed. So the nucleus at East Fremantle have been really good for the club, but they haven't really had the kudos that I think not deserved. That's not the right way, but we've probably been a little bit underestimated in that respect for what we've done for 3 or 4 years now. But you've got to, I guess, you've got to win a premiership or you know, do things like that to get the kudos. And I think the players, those group of players, do understand that. But yeah, to get in the grand final and lose, and when you're in the hunt in the last quarter, is a tough break. But in saying that, I was really proud of the players on that day. I wasn't disappointed with their performance, though. I was really proud of them.
Stan, from what I've seen
Yeah.
in the back half of the season, Rock O'Brien's just seems to have had a resurgence.
Yeah.
You know, everything he had before, and maybe a little bit more, he's been quite outstanding. And talking to Scully earlier as well, you must be thrilled with what Robbie Young gives you when the chips are down. He just seems to save his best for those really tough times.
Yeah, Rob does one thing, which I try to impress on every player at the club, whether they're the Colts, reserves or league. He just competes at every contest. Simple as that. So he does that every time he plays. Some days he's in better physical shape, some days it works for him, his marking's better or not better, but he just competes really hard at every contest and plays his 1/50th, and that's his hallmark, his competitiveness. Brock's interesting story. We played him forward and he won our goal kicking for 2 years in a row, so he did pretty well there, but he's a lot more settled this year and only missed 1 game through injury. He's had a career beset by injuries, probably until he came to East Fremantle. But he's a lot more settled this year, Phil.
Steve, where's Jamie McNamara at? I think last week you said he was some chance.
Yeah.
What sort of time frame are you operating on? How close was he last week?
We're working on the theory and assumption that he will play. Yeah, he did a test last Friday, and we were going to do another one on Saturday, but we decided to give him another week off, and the timelines with the media meant we'd already put the team in before we'd made that decision, so that's why he was named. So, but he should be right. Yeah.
How did you both pull up from Sunday's games, personnel-wise, injuries, any?
I thought you were asking how I pulled up. Yeah, it was still relatively early, you know, because we played Sunday, but no, the players came through fine, really, yeah.
Yeah, same with us. You know, Horse copped the knock early on, but he was able to finish the game. But like all the players, after a final game, a little bit sore, and you know, but yeah, no serious injuries or anything like that, which is a good thing to have.
Could you just get your thoughts for Monday night? Who you think might be a chance if they're finished with the game?
It was 30 years ago, Brad, that there was a triple dead heat, mate. So I'll go for a triple dead heat. How's that?
Who are they?
Horsley. It's a three-way trifecta, isn't it? Kyle Horsley, Luke Blackwell. That guys might get annoyed if I don't put one of them in, but I'll steer clear of that. And Hayden Sloyth.
Yeah, okay. I probably would have done a 3-way as well, but maybe would have chucked in Rory O'Brien. But I think Luke Blackwell, he'll be up there again. They're back half of the year. Claremont's had a really good finish to the year, and if I've got to be biased here, but seeing Kyle Horsley firsthand and seeing what our team's been able to do on the back of him, I'd definitely say he'd be up there as well. And before he went to Gold Coast, I think he was a runner-up, so pulled some big votes there. So I'll go with the Subi boy and say Kyle.
Thanks, boys.
Appreciate it.
No worries. That's
Good
it.
luck, mate.
Yeah, see you around. See ya.
More than 17 votes each, I think.
What's that?